Imagine sitting across from the woman you love at dinner. The restaurant is lively, but between the two of you, there is only a heavy, exhausting quiet. You reach out to touch her hand, and she doesn't pull away, but she doesn't lean in either. Her hand is just there, present, but entirely absent. It is the exact moment you realize that even though you are sitting inches apart, you have never felt more alone. Something inside you starts to whisper, "Why does this keep happening? Is the spark just gone for good? Am I losing her? Or have we just become roommates who share a bed?" Here is the truth most relationship advice completely misses. She didn't pull away because she stopped loving you. She pulled away because she stopped feeling safe enough to surrender. Mainstream culture tells you that women want grand romantic gestures or constant physical excitement. But a mature woman operates on a completely different psychological frequency. You are not failing at love. This distance is not a sign that you chose the wrong partner, nor is it proof that your connection is dead. Every couple who has ever built a lasting, deeply passionate life together has stood in this exact quiet. By the end of this video, you will understand the exact psychological shifts and physical touch patterns that cut through her defense mechanisms, soothe her nervous system, and make her feel deeply seen, chosen, and desired. Let's get into it. But here is what nobody explains. Most couples believe that physical intimacy is just a byproduct of a good relationship, something that happens automatically when you aren't fighting. But the real truth is that touch is the primary language of the human nervous system. Your partner's body is reading your presence before her conscious mind can even catch up. When emotional safety leaves a relationship, the physical desire doesn't disappear, it goes underground. What looks like a woman becoming cold or distant is usually just a mature woman who has been emotionally self-reliant for so long that her body has forgotten how to let its guard down. In attachment science, we know that a mature woman values stability and emotional availability above almost everything else. If she feels like she has to carry the emotional weight of the relationship, her nervous system goes into a state of high alert.
When you touch her from that place, demanding intimacy rather than offering safety, it feels like a negotiation, not a refuge. This isn't about learning slick bedroom moves. It's about understanding how to use physical touch to communicate safety directly to her subconscious mind. When you change the emotional tone of your physical presence, she stops feeling like a problem you were trying to solve and starts feeling like a woman who is ready to open up to you again. First, let's talk about the anchoring touch. Most people in relationships only use physical contact when they want something or when they are initiating sex. This creates a predictable, damaging cycle where she instinctively builds walls the moment you reach out. Because her mind is quietly registering, he only touches me when he wants an explicit reward. The deeper psychological truth is that a mature woman thrives when she feels anchored without expectation. Her nervous system needs to know that your presence is a free gift, not a transactional demand. For instance, most couples default to walking past each other in the kitchen, brushing against the lower back, and lingering only to see if she turns around to kiss you. A more conscious shift is walking past her, gently placing a firm, warm hand on her shoulder for 3 solid seconds, giving it a soft squeeze, and walking away to finish your day. When you anchor her without asking for anything in return, something moves through her that says, "I forgot how good it feels to just be held without having to perform." That is the shift that turns touch from a transactional negotiation into a true safe haven. Second, consider the attuned face cradle. Here's the part no one talks about. A mature woman spends most of her day managing, thinking, and organizing her world. She is constantly in her head, which means she is rarely fully present in her body. Most couples default to quick, distracted peck kisses while looking at their phones or grabbing their car keys. But beneath the surface, she feels a profound longing to be truly seen, not just looked at. Instead of pulling her in for a quick hug while your eyes wander around the room checking the time, try bringing both hands up to gently frame her jawline, waiting for her eyes to meet yours, and holding that stillness for one deep breath before you ever lean in. This isn't a communication hack.
This is what it looks like when a man uses his physical presence to slow time down for the woman he loves. And when you do that, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a single word. Third is the central nervous system regulator. And this is the one most couples never figure out. When a woman is stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, her sympathetic nervous system is firing at maximum capacity.
Most people try to fix this with logic, louder conversations, or by offering analytical solutions to her problems. But her brain cannot process your logic when her body feels completely overwhelmed. Most men will say, "You just need to relax. It's not that big of a deal. Just let it go." But a more powerful approach is sitting next to her, pulling her back against your chest, and placing one firm, still hand over her sternum while you breathe deeply and slowly. Your nervous system acts like a smoke detector for hers. By placing a calm, steady hand on her center, something in her quietly realizes, "He doesn't need me to fix this. He just needs me to stay." That's the touch that makes a woman feel like you are a shelter from the storm, rather than part of the chaos. Fourth, we have the unspoken public claim. This is where it gets really interesting. A mature woman does not want a partner who is possessive, but she deeply desires a man who is proud to claim her. Most couples default to completely separating their energy the moment they step outside their front door, acting more like platonic friends or business partners than lovers. Rather than walking 2 steps ahead of her through a crowded event and assuming she is just following behind you, try reaching back, sliding your fingers through hers, or placing a firm hand on the small of her back as you guide her smoothly through the crowd. This isn't about performance or showing off for others. It is an internal message sent straight to her subconscious that says, "I am completely present with you, right here in front of the whole world." When she feels that subtle, protective guidance, she stops feeling like she has to protect herself and finally allows herself to lean into you. Fifth is the hair brushback and hold. Honestly, this is the touch that changes everything, yet it is almost entirely forgotten. It requires absolute emotional availability and a willingness to be completely vulnerable in the moment. Most people avoid this kind of slow intimacy because it forces them to look past the surface-level distractions of daily life. Instead of reaching out to fix a stray piece of her hair because it looks messy, and then immediately returning to your phone, try slowly tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, letting the back of your fingers brush against her cheek, and letting your hand linger there while you look at her like you are seeing her for the first time. Not a behavioral technique, not a trick to bypass conflict, but a moment of pure, uninterrupted admiration that cuts through the noise of the world. That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like work into one that feels like a beautiful, living refuge. This isn't a checklist of physical maneuvers to memorize. It is an invitation to show up differently in your own skin. And that changes everything about what is possible between you and the person you chose. When you internalize these shifts, you stop merely reacting to her distance, and you start responding to her underlying need for safety. And her body will feel that difference before you have even said a single word. These aren't just tips for a better relationship. They are the blueprint for becoming the kind of grounded, emotionally mature partner she's been quietly longing for all along. Because at the end of the day, real intimacy doesn't start when you finally find the right person. It starts when you decide to become one.